Hey guys, Joe here at ECRM's Pet Session in Chicago, and I'm with Mark from Maranda Enterprises, which is one of the Buyer's Choice Award winners. So thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, glad to be here.
And congratulations.
Thank you very much. We're excited about it.
Yeah, well, you guys definitely deserve it. And tell us a little bit about your company.
Well, Maranda Enterprises is an unusual little company that we're in a variety of industries, and obviously we're at a pet EPPS, so we're showing our pet products here. But we actually we develop products and take them to market in everything from sporting goods to games to pet. But what brought us here is we're in the safety industry where we're cooling down humans. And so we have a really effective product for taking heat off the body core of humans. And we'd be at our safety shows for that industry, and so many people who love dogs would come up to us and say, why isn't anybody doing anything like this for dogs? Heat stress is a very real issue, and nobody's doing anything that's appropriate or effective at really pulling heat off the body core of a dog to cool them down.
So that's how this came about.
That's how this came to be. And at the time, we didn't own a dog.
Okay.
And it was a tertiary market to us, and so for a couple of years, we kind of said, we don't have the bandwidth.
Yeah.
And then we got a dog. We got Shandy, our miniature golden doodle, and we put her into agility training. And not only did we see the impact of heat from her activity, but all kinds of other dogs. And we started learning about brachiocephalic dogs and dogs who have difficulties. And then people would tell us about working dogs and police dogs and military dogs. And we realized we have the technology to solve the problem. We just need to work with veterinarians to do it right.
Gotcha.
And so we spent about 1.5 years working with veterinarians on the right types of products to be effective at really pulling heat off, which is very different from what's been in the industry for years. And we also said, you know what, we understand from cooling down bodies, whether they be human or animal, that there are 3 levers that you can pull. And one of them is physical cooling, the second is shade, the third is hydration.
Gotcha.
And so all of the products within the CoolerDog brand will be focused on physical cooling, shade, and hydration.
Okay.
We're a very tight brand, very focused. We're not going to be the next treat company or the next toy company. We just work on cooling down dogs.
A very specific but important.
Really focused brand. Yeah. And what's really interesting about the hydration side is that if you're dehydrated, the body's natural ability to regulate its own heat gets super compromised.
Yep.
Same as humans.
In our case, it's sweat. In their case, it's their tongues.
Right. And so we want to make sure they stay hydrated. So anything that you can do to help a dog drink more, we do. And so all of our products for hydration actually have hydration tips on the packaging. Very cool. So people know this is how I check to see if my dog is hydrated. This is how I know how much they're supposed to be drinking. Yeah. All those types of things for pet owner awareness for people who love their pets. So
great. Well, tell us about the winning product. Some details about the mat itself.
Okay, so the Hydra Cooling Mat is the product that won, or second place, I guess, technically.
Finalists,
finalists,
yes.
So
one of the winners.
Yeah, thank you. It's an interesting product because what it does is it uses the phase change of frozen water, ice, thawing into water to create a really powerful heat absorbing engine. And so the Hydra Cooling Mat it's about 16 by 20 inches, and inside it are 3 layers. The bottom layer is a layer of closed cell insulating foam. And that insulates the mat itself from, if I put it onto a hot patio or a hot SUV deck, something like that, we don't want that warming up the item. We want the dog's body heat to be absorbed by the cooling power of the mat. So the next layer is a layer of our flexi-freeze ice. That's another product that we make in our company. And think of bubble wrap so strong you can jump on it. Yeah. It's 7 layers thick in plastic filled with water. And I can freeze it. So it stays flexible when it's frozen, hence the name flexi-freeze. Yep. And that's the second layer. And so I take that, I put it in the freezer, and I just pop it into this mat. Above that is what we call our water bed cushion. And that's just it looks like a gel pad, but it's just water and foam. And what that does on the top layer is it distributes the heat absorption capacity of the frozen water, the ice, and creates a really comfortable surface for the dog to lay down. And so that mat that's about 16 by 20 inches has snaps around the outside. So it's modular. So from a retailer perspective, they only manage 1 SKU. They don't have to worry about how many smalls, mediums, larges.
That's a great idea.
That they need to manage inventory for and guess at the beginning of a season. They have 1 SKU to carry, and then it snaps together for whatever size space or whatever size dog they're trying to keep cooled off. Yeah. And then what we provide along with that is we have refills of those ice sheets. So if you want continuous cooling, one sheet lasts for about 4 or 5 hours in a 75-degree room.
Yeah.
And so if you want to be continuously cooling, extra ice sheets are really cheap.
Yeah, that's great. I like the combination. It's modular. They don't have to worry about additional SKUs, and then you still have that reason for them to get some additional add-ons.
Right, and there's nothing more effective on the planet at absorbing heat than water when it's thawing from. Now, this is the geek speak part.
Yep, that's fine. We like geek speak.
When water is going from 32 to 33 degrees, it absorbs 144 times as much heat energy as when it's moving any other degree.
Really?
Yeah, and so it's called the latent heat of water, and it's an amazing property. And that's what gives the Hydra Cooling Mat such amazing heat absorption capacity to draw heat off a dog. If we watch a dog cool off, they go to some place with mass. It's a tile floor, it's concrete, it's the grass under a tree, and it has enough mass to pull the heat out. A dog's underside has less fur, and it's where the blood vessels come closest to the skin.
Okay.
And so if you ask a veterinarian, it's the throat, it's the armpits, and it's the groin are the 3 points at which the heat is supposed to be drawn off a dog, and it's where you'll watch every single dog. They'll go lay in the snow, they'll splay their legs.
Yep.
They'll do that because they know how to cool off. And so when we take a look at a wearable, almost everything that's in the marketplace is an evaporative product that you get wet and you put on the dog's back.
Okay.
It makes no sense whatsoever. So we have a wearable product that's like our mat that goes under where the ice goes underneath the armpits and the throat of the dog and draws heat off. And we do that with a wearable as well, and it's also insulated from the outside. So that's how we do what we do, and it's the power of water.
Now I know why. When you see all those Instagram pictures of dogs sitting like that, splayed out, now I know why.
And so that's what people asked us to do to create the mat. They looked at the technology we use for humans and said, why isn't anybody doing this for dogs? There's nothing like what we have in the marketplace. And it's that phase change that makes it so effective, which is why things like gel pads, our mat absorbs 10 times as much heat as a gel pad.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And so that's what was really driving it. People who love dogs who were just looking for a more effective solution.
How are your meetings? How was your experience here?
Our meetings were really wonderful. We think they'll be effective. We've already prioritized our follow-up because there's tons to do.
Yeah.
And it, if you manage the time well, 20 minutes is a long time and a short time all at the same time.
Yes, yep.
And so if you manage that well, we've found that probably 85–90% of our meetings are appropriate for follow-up and soon.
That's a nice number. Okay.
Yeah. So we're excited to get at it and get following up.
And this is your second year here
This
with
is our
us.
second year at Pet EPPS.
Okay.
Yes.
What made you decide to come?
We've been to other ECRM events for general merchandise shows for our other product areas.
Gotcha.
So we knew the format, we liked the format. We're building the new pet brand, and just said this is a great place to get exposure, and to have the kinds of conversations that can sometimes be difficult in an open trade show.
Yeah.
And so the first Pet EPPS, we got 3 new accounts came out of that, and so we're excited about that, and said we should go back again. And I think and so for people who are actually wondering about how many times you do this. We, I think, had 2, maybe 3 out of over 30 appointments that were a repeat from the prior year.
Okay.
So,
a lot of new ones, a lot of new. Okay.
A lot of new, and a lot of surprises that were really good fits.
Excellent.
That you might not have looked at the piece of paper and said, that works for me. And we're super surprised that walking out of the show, it's a different priority list than we would have guessed on paper walking into the show. I guess that's why you actually play the game, right?
Yes, I mean, it's funny you mentioned that. It's one of the things we recommend is suppliers should come year over year, and it's not just because we want your money it's because of that. You're gonna have a little bit of that serendipity where you're gonna meet this buyer from a channel maybe you didn't even think of, and all of a sudden it's relevant.
Right, and so we were pleasantly surprised by our meetings.
Very cool. What's coming up next?
We've got a lot of product development in new sizes and formats of some of the existing products that we've gotten from feedback from customers. So we're just excited to get more product into the channels that we met here and cool off more dogs, help support more pet owners, take care of the animals they love.
That's a great goal to have.
Okay.
Well, thank you and congratulations again.
You bet.
All right.
Have a good